Welcome to another episode of Bringing Down the Grindhouse, a podcast where we discuss horror in media. And today, we're talking about Chappie and District 9. I'm Mitch.
I'm Murr.
I'm Justine.
And I'm Jonathan. There's a whole lot of stuff to talk about with both these films.
Way too much.
We're going to jump right into it. And so I think we wanted to start with Chappie.
Chappie.
Sure.
Okay, so what do we know about Chappie and District 9? It's the same director, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's Neil Blomkamp.
What was that?
His name is Neil Blomkamp.
Blum who?
Blomkamp.
Blomkamp.
I don't know.
Comp?
District 9 was his debut film, right? That was like his first feature film.
That was his first feature film.
That's pretty impressive.
As well as like the main character, the guy who played Wickus.
Yeah, Charlotte Copley, who plays Chappie as well as Wickus in District 9. I believe we were talking about it earlier, but this is his first acting role, and the only reason he got it is because he did pretty decent in the short film he made.
Yeah, both of them were based off of a short film he had done, and then he extended the universe on each one. He also made Elysium, so they're all meant to be a trilogy.
And he also is in Elysium, surprisingly enough.
Isn't he the bad guy in Elysium?
I think so.
But he's fucking nuts in that movie.
Yeah, he's actually a really good actor. He wasn't going to pursue
He's
a
got
career,
some range.
But like, they just kept bringing him on, I guess.
Didn't he also want to cast Ninja in Elysium?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. But
Yeah.
he felt that it was kind of like not his kind of scene because it was just all American actors.
Yeah.
I get that.
Apparently,
Ninja's a special type.
he hates like most American like famous people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he talks enough shit about them in his songs, I get it. So can we talk about Deon Wilson real quick?
Deon Wilson, yeah.
Deon Wilson.
They're really racist. No,
Well,
Hey,
we'll
they're
get to that.
there's video proof of it now, which is sad, but
But their music still fucking slaps, if I'm
It's
being honest.
No,
I hate that I love it, but I fucking love it.
it's as terrible as their haircut.
You know
no.
what they remind me of? They remind me of doing like a toned down like Run the Jewels style before Run the Jewels was
interesting.
doing it. They are really like that punchy driving kind of like hip hop sort of deal, which is what I think Run the Jewels does really well, which they also do really well too.
I
Well,
feel like
they're like rave rap, aren't they?
yeah,
Yeah,
I
kinda
feel
like
like they're
that
more
deal.
electronic now.
Yeah.
The
Well,
thing
now,
is, like,
yeah.
what
I
was
mean,
it?
before, too. They were very, like, I want to say, like, kind of like a 90s fusion, like, cyberpunk kind of hip-hop music, if that makes sense. You feel? They had that
I
edgy
see
kind
what
of, like kind of drivingness to their music.
Kind of like an industrial style
Yeah,
to them almost. Like
yeah.
they're really doing like they're really throwing, but they're like mixing it with like that hip hop culture with like industrial sort of.
But it's like different. It's not
things.
American hip hop.
Yeah,
it's
exactly. It's
South
like-
African
it's
hip
that-
hop,
yeah,
which
it's
is
a
a whole
different
other
thing
breed.
entirely.
You
It's
know?
just so weird to me that they're South African and they're just like
albino.
oh, it's super albino. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously because of the
That's-
colonization,
but
that's like a thing.
Yeah, that's how they actually they just stayed inside all the time. And
Right,
never went
yeah.
out. They just
Exactly.
were
You
doing
saw-
the beats.
You saw the
know?
meme I sent you, right? The
Oh
history
my
of South
God,
Africa.
dude. Yeah, literally.
Nelson Mandela, fucking District 9, and Deon Wilson.
They forgot Parthian, but whatever. Shit. But like the only thing weirder than them is the fact that Hans Zimmer did the rest of the music.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, what the fuck?
Hans
This dude who
Zimmer.
did Pirates of the Caribbean.
You did a lot of shit.
He's done so
He's
much.
just like has a ridiculous amount of work under his belt.
and just happened to did this really.
But like, why would he do this movie? Did
Yeah,
they just go
this
to him one day and they're
movie.
like, "Hey, you want to make this soundtrack for a weird cyberpunk movie?" And he's like, "Yeah, fuck it.
Why not?
Why not? I'm not doing
That's how I
anything
feel
else
about
right
with
now."
Hugh Jackman too being cast in this
Fuck,
film.
I know. He's like, I'm not doing anything
Hugh
else.
That's such a
Jackman.
weird. It was such a weird role to see Hugh Jackman being a bad guy. I don't think I've ever seen him. I just know him as Wolverine all the
well,
time.
he was also Jean Valjean, and Jean Valjean was kind of a douche, if I'm being
I don't-
honest.
What was that
What
one?
movie is
Les
that?
Mis.
Oh, see, I have not watched.
I watched
Les
like
Mis.
10 minutes of it, and no one warns me that it's singing the
Yeah,
whole
no, same
time.
here. See,
The whole time, every line.
I watched
line
it the
is
first
sung.
time. The only reason I watched the whole movie is because I was on a plane when I watched it
Yeah.
for the
Oh,
first
that
time.
sounds about right. Yeah, it's a plane
I was
movie.
like,
It's a
shit.
plane
I
movie.
mean, I'm on here for another 4 hours, so might as well.
Fuck.
So if we ever do like a review of a horror musical, are we just gonna sing the whole episode?
No,
And
I'm
I
not that
thought
good.
That this scene was really
Okay.
fucking gory.
I think the funniest part about it is seeing Hugh Jackman as a bad guy in a tucked-in T-shirt and fucking mullet.
Yeah.
That's
Yo,
the
that
best
hair,
part.
I don't even know
Holy
if you can call that a
shit,
mullet,
dude.
though. That
I
was
never
some next
thought-
level mullet.
Yeah, I never thought they could make Hugh Jackman look fucking ugly, but here we are with this outfit and the haircut. Like,
I don't
that
know,
was
man. I'd
awful.
still hit it.
He's that perverted fucking office guy. Like you're trying to.
Also,
fucking play
he's
some
not
golf.
doing an accent. That's like how he sounds.
Yeah, he's Australian.
Yeah, that's like his OG
He
voice.
literally just had to, like, he's like, I'm not gonna cut my hair.
They just
I'm just gonna tuck in my shirt.
What
I'm gonna
was-
do the scenes.
What was the fucking phrase that he told Deon when he's like holding him down? Where he's like, he makes him as mad as what? Like a frog in a sock or something
Yeah,
like
a
that?
frog in a
I was
fucking
like,
sock.
what? Like, is this super Australian slang that's happening here?
Yo, I love how nobody fucking says something. The guy has a gun pointed at his face in a fucking.
No one
office.
notices, and then he's like, "Oh, it's just a joke," and then
It's a
everyone
fucking
backs away. He's like,
prank.
you guys need to like fucking.
It's like one of those YouTubers. It's a prank, bro. It's a prank.
Yeah.
They're like,
you
well,
know.
he is Australian.
Yeah, he's
so-
just taking a piss. It's
Like-
fine. It was ridiculous.
But yeah, Deanford, they did a lot of the songs. They also did the production for their own home in this movie.
I feel like this was
Yeah.
just a promo movie
But
for them.
I know.
It's
Bruh,
just-
like it's in
they definitely
every
had
other
some-
scene.
Yeah,
It's on the walls.
I mean, it's spray
It's on
painted
the
on
shirts.
Chappie.
They definitely had their hand
tension.
in the wardrobe too. I could spot a lot of their pieces. They have very significant symbols that they use in their
you
fashion
can like
line.
buy some
yeah,
of the clothes from the movie.
it was primo advertising, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean that might be why the movie didn't get so many good reviews.
They also had that controversy before when the movie was being like released with that whole Drake deal.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny though. Fuck Drake.
Yeah, Ninja was just like, this guy's fucking lame, and then
It was
just
so
uploaded
great listening to the story.
fucking that shit.
He just doesn't like him. He was like, "Dude, this guy's annoying. Like, I
the
don't
banana
like being
pudding
around
video,
him."
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. That was like the video he had about hanging out with Kanye West
Yeah.
and Kim Kardashian. That shit was so fucking funny.
I love it too because he's like, that's the problem with rap nowadays is like, I talk shit on all these people and their fucking things,
And they're
we're
all
playing
upset.
basketball, and no one fucking came up to me and popped me. Like,
Yeah,
what the
no
fuck?
one said shit to him because they don't want to. Who's gonna fight him? He looks weird.
It's
I
Twitter
know.
fingers, dude.
He
That
looks like
dude
he
looks like
throws
he might actually
hands.
stab you. Like,
Yeah,
he
for
has, like,
reals.
stretchy limbs, you know, and he's just gonna like.
He's just
stretch
gonna like
around your
roundhouse
blocks and
kick you or
whatnot.
something.
oh god.
Falcon punch.
He'll just be like, "All right, we're fighting," and just rips off his pants,
Yeah.
like fights naked or something. You know what I
You would
mean?
do some shit like that.
Pulls a fucking shiv out of his sock or
Oh my
something.
God. Yeah, he's got to have a knife on him at all times.
Dead. Oh my god.
Accompanying Charlotte Copley as Chappie, we have Dev Patel as Dion.
Yep.
Deantworth.
What the hell else is he in? He's in other stuff, right?
He's just that guy.
I thought he would. No, that's not the same dude. Wait, is it? Is it the dude from Rogue One?
No, I don't think so.
The pilot?
Bodhi? No.
No, that's a different dude. Now I feel bad because
Totally
they look
different dude.
similar.
He's done some TV. It looks like he's done Skins and
Oh.
Modern Love. He's also been in Slumdog Millionaire.
That's where he's from.
He's also been in The Last Airbender, the live action
yeah, the
movie.
terrible remake. That movie doesn't exist. Shh.
We don't. It doesn't.
We don't speak of M. Night Shyamalan in this
What?
house.
Wait, I saw signs on the calendar, John.
I didn't put it there.
Ah.
M Night Shyamalan, what are you doing to our?
Shyamalan ding dong.
Whoa.
So we have Ninja.
Whoa.
Whoa!
I'm sorry, guys.
We don't say things like that, John. That's a little rude. Okay. He's Indian. He can't help it. Okay. Just,
Whoa.
whoa!
Well, he can't.
God damn it!
Whoa. Anyways. Hey, Mur, what were you saying?
Wow. Oh man. All right. We digress. We digress.
We digress.
I digress.
Regardless.
You good?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So, what were you talking about? Murray?
Accompanying them, we have Ninja playing Ninja.
Literally their own names in the
Yolandi
movie.
Visser as Yolandi Visser. Jose Pablo Cantillo as America.
America.
Yeah, that dude's dope.
With
I
a
actually
K.
like that guy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's a good actor.
We got Sigourney Weaver.
Woo!
Yeah. How
Not
old is she
being-
now? Shit.
Oh fuck, she's in her 70s.
Yeah.
No way.
That's wild.
No way. She
Yeah.
looks good for
Yeah,
70.
yeah, she's in her
What?
70s. She's like the same age as what was God, why am I forgetting her name? From Halloween? Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah.
They're like the same age. It's kind of wild.
And then Hugh Jackman, of course.
Who's like 50.
But the movie had a budget of $49 million and it made $102 million in the box office.
I
So
thought
it
it
did
made
well.
more than that. Or am I thinking of District 9? I'm
Thinking of
thinking of
District
District 9.
9.
District 9 made more money.
Yep.
Yeah, it made a lot of money, but it apparently was just like nobody liked it. They were like, this is literally just advertisement for this band, and there's no like character depth.
They didn't even have like an album coming out then. They were
Right.
promoting their 2012
They were like
album.
in between
Yeah,
albums
yeah,
at the
exactly.
time. I think honestly the reason why I was so excited to watch this movie was because of them, because I had listened to
probably
their
what drew
music
so
and
many
I was
people
like,
in.
oh, they're doing film too. Okay.
Right.
These interesting people. Very
And-
very dynamic couple.
Yeah, and they do have a child together, and like
Oh, I
you
forgot
could
about
see
that.
their like craziness go into like the guns that they have. They're like spray painted Call
Oh
of Duty
yeah,
4 style,
super
like,
customized.
pink and yellow. It's fucking dope.
This was like a better example of a music duo going and doing film, because there's also that Daft Punk like music video or like movie that they did.
Is that animated one? Or is it something
No,
else?
it's not animated actually. It's
Oh.
live action. Daft Punk did do a live action movie.
They did.
Yes, I forget what it's called, but
Well-
they did, and it's great.
You're not talking about when they
But
were
it's
featured
also,
in like
like,
Tron
boring
Legacy,
as well.
right?
No, not in Tron Legacy. It was before that.
Oh shit, I didn't know.
Yeah, no. I'll look it up and talk about it later.
Oh,
But
yeah,
I mean,
okay.
this was just a better example of something like that, where they like kind of
They
promote
were
themselves.
like decent actors.
Yeah,
Like, they
absolutely.
weren't like absolute. But I feel like that's just how they are. They just
They're
like
just
this
being
is.
themselves.
They're just being themselves. Like
Or
they
they're
couldn't.
always acting.
That's fair. They probably have like a persona they have to put
I
on
mean,
all the time.
definitely. They're such like stage performers. It's pretty obvious. They have such a presence, you know? Like, you know it's Deon when you see it.
I've seen them live.
Yes.
Oh man, how was that?
That was fun.
Where did you see them?
I saw them at Beach Goth in 2015, right after
Nice.
Chappie was released.
Oh well, shit.
I remember them with that freaky song, "Feel You Freaky" or whatever it is.
I think you freaky.
I think you freaky. And
Frinky?
freaky.
I think you
Frinky.
freaky.
You said Frinky.
Oh yeah.
Like a
Well,
slinky.
you
Oh my
Frinky?
God,
I remember
scary.
specifically like hearing this song and I was like, this is sick. And then I was like, all right, sick. I'm gonna go to the next stage. Fuck this.
Ah.
But honestly, they were a fun time, and I honestly liked their outfits more than their music at the time. But now I have more of a love for them now because of the movie. I like enjoy like Banana Brain was my jam for the longest time.
Oh yeah.
That one has the fucking lyric "Booby 1, Booby 2."
I think that's always been the thing about Deon is just like their image that they have, because their image is in everything that they do, you know.
Right.
It's in the clothes that they wear, the hairstyles, the way they talk, the way they walk. Everything.
I wonder what it would have been like if they were not in the film. It probably would have been very boring.
Yeah, honestly, I couldn't see anybody else playing those characters.
I
It was
think-
such a good concept, though. Like the idea about the film is really good.
I think they did a great job acting.
Yeah, they did. Like they did much better than some other people do in certain movies.
Like
But-
I don't know if this is their first movie or not, but
I think it is. I don't. Well, I mean, they do music videos and shit,
Right.
so like they're kind of used to stuff like that. But this is definitely like their first feature film, and I don't think they're gonna really be in anything else. That was just them getting to do whatever the fuck they wanted.
I think if they were to be in anything else, they'd probably be the ones directing it.
So, without them, what are the other things you noticed about this film? Because obviously it talks about larger ideas.
Oh yeah.
So it does talk about artificial intelligence, how people might feel about it, and what uses it might have. Obviously, they went with the police force, and there's some huge analogies to like a current situation.
a robot police force sounds terrifying. But at the same time, the police were like super fucking lazy in this movie.
Oh,
Yeah, they were kind
Yeah.
of incompetent. Like they weren't really doing all that much.
Just send the droids in. Fuck it. And they're all just chilling in the fucking police.
I know the dude piloting
department.
that big mech suit like he was playing Call of Duty.
He was so stoked.
Oh
He was
man.
like a kid.
I would say that at least for these robots, like with our police force right now, we have a lot of problems with like racial injustice and whatnot, things like that, and violence because of that. So I think that robots could be programmed and potentially be better at handling that than other people would be, because they wouldn't have those prejudices and they wouldn't have those outlooks.
Totally.
Yeah,
And-
assuming. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, it definitely depends on who's programming them, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Because in this case, the people behind the suits weren't exactly the ideal candidates. Not exactly looking for peace, I would say.
Well, the creator himself,
He was peaceful.
he was I feel like
Mhm.
he's a cool person and was like definitely a good person, like compared to everybody else there. Even the CEO didn't really seem that bad. She was just kind of like, I need money. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to make money off these things. Stop trying to do like art.
That's the thing. Like,
Stop
Yeah.
trying to do art.
I need you to make good RoboCops.
Yeah, what the
Isn't-
fuck?
His intention was to like I feel like it was to get to Chappie,
Yeah.
but like he had to get that roadblock and just decide like, okay, I could help make money off of this, get more funding, and get
Right.
the resources to help like do his baby project, which in retrospect is Chappie is his baby, and it's shown throughout the film like that.
Oh yeah.
Where I mean, like he like leaves for long extended periods of time, comes back, and is like, Chappie, what are you doing? You're like covered in tats and like walking like a gangster. Chappie's badass, bro. Just,
He's like, "Hello, Maker."
That was great. I love that they
was
taught him like mannerisms that are associated with both of them, and then he just adapted those into his own shit.
Yeah. I like how he would shift too, depending on who he was with. If he was with Daddy, he was gangster, But if he was with Mommy, he could be a little softer. I think he really wanted to.
There was really good stuff that I read about it where someone was comparing that to people code switching whenever they were in public with other people. So essentially how like people of color talk to each other as opposed to how they talk to someone of authority or someone who's white. You'll use different language. And in this case, he was doing everything differently. His mannerisms, like you said, around Ninja, he was like super tough. But around Yolandi, he was very nice and like wanted to just do like cool art shit. Like, he was like painting the car at some point.
yeah, the first painting was fucking awesome. How he just did it like a fucking scan, like a printer.
Dude, that reminded me of iRobot. Remember that shit? He
yeah.
like picks up like a ballpoint pen and does that. He's like
Fucking
talking
dope.
about his dreams and shit.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because like eventually Chappie gets a consciousness and like starts just having all kinds of different thoughts.
So this brings up another question: is how I didn't really exactly get how that worked. Are they saying like it's a copy, or like was it actually them that was put into something? Because like
It was a copy based off of them. It was
so it's like their likeness.
Yeah, it was like a program in the same sense that you could think of like reincarnation. If like a soul dies and is reincarnated into a body but possesses all the same memories of its past life, is it still that person? I think it would be, but it also is now a new person evolved past that point. And all the memories are just data collection.
Yeah, I think I'm just stuck on the fact that like it's not them.
Consciousness is data in this fucking movie.
Yeah, it's a data file.
Fucked me up. It's
I think-
.dat.
I think consciousness is sort of like what's being actively used, and then there's memory, which is like the data that is stored that influences the way the consciousness interacts with its environment. Yo.
The thing is, like, Chappie starts off as a newborn. He's like learning his first
Right.
words.
Then
He's
he
like
hooks up
super
to the
timid,
internet.
super scared. And then like I gotta be honest, Ninja does a lot of fucking shit to toughen him up real quick.
Oh yeah.
Like
This is
just
so
leave him
fucked up.
out in the ghetto.
Throws him in the wild.
Yeah, this is mean. I was like very emotional about it. I was like, why are you treating Chappie so poorly? This
Poor
is so
little
bad.
boy.
It almost doesn't make much sense though either why they would treat him that way, because they need him as a bargaining chip and to help do a heist. So they're gonna risk him getting broken by, I don't know. There's like a disconnect there. I
Well,
mean, I
like,
like it, but I also don't.
That was
If he
like,
doesn't get tough, he's not really useful, And so it's either you tough him up or he's like useless.
yeah. So this is where like the ethics comes in.
Yeah.
Like, how are you actually gonna treat an AI that has like no ill intention towards you?
Well, you heard America. You're indestructible, Holmes.
Not really though.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
like
Yeah.
dying. His battery's gonna run
I
out.
also love when like Ninja shows him how to shoot a gun. He's like, hold the gun properly.
It turns
I know,
it
he
to the
turns it
side.
to the side.
Yeah. Holy shit.
That stance.
I think like one of my favorite scenes is when he's like, that dog's dead, Chappie, and that dog's alive. In this world, things are tough. Which dog do you want to be, that one or that one? And he's like, that one, I guess, Daddy.
I guess, Daddy. Can we talk about how this robot calls him Daddy? That's adorable. Daddy's just a little bunny rabbit robot with his little antenna
he has like ears.
He's so cute. I can't get over how cute this robot is. Especially when he's acting all gangster. It's like a little kid trying to imitate his parents,
really
you know?
So I kept thinking about the beginning of the movie when they keep saying he comes into like the shop destroyed over and over again because he just has like terrible luck and he always loses I think it's the right ear or the right antenna, and so like in the end of the movie he has like an orange ear and then like an orange arm at some point from like the testing ones.
Yeah.
But it was just weird that he had like that bad luck and then he just gets shot with a fucking RPG.
Yeah, from that fucking crazy ass
Hippo.
Hippo.
Let's talk about Hippo.
Dude's a fucking mong.
His fucking hair, dude. He has like little twists like on his head in addition to his weird mullet.
Your friend said it was like what? Stegosaurus hair?
Yeah,
Oh.
Stegosaurus.
I just like that his name is Hippo.
I
and
like that he has a
giant,
gold AK.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And a
gold
giant
plated.
Africa tattoo.
I want my fucking money.
What?
We fucking get it, dude. I love how this guy dodges every Gatling gun in the movie.
Somehow.
Shirtless.
Somehow,
He's
yeah.
shirtless the whole movie.
And then he dies to a shovel.
It's obvious shirtless.
He dies to like a spade shovel. and you're like, what the fuck?
He gets beat to death with a
Yo,
shovel.
but shirtless is the ultimate armor if you didn't know this.
It's true, though, yes.
Mhm.
Right.
In movie logic, you're immune to all
Yeah.
things if you're shirtless.
This is why all the ladies' armor is nothing.
Yeah.
It's like a bikini.
Or it's got fucking
Makes sense.
tits cut out for you.
There you go. You have the boob window.
Boob windows.
It gives you
Right over all the
Everything is
vital
blocked except
organs.
for the
It makes no
essential part.
sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Essential, quote unquote. So here,
giant fucking
I have
mech.
a question for you guys. I have
It's
a question.
giant fucking
I have a question because Chappie is born with a morality, with a sense
how do
of
you mean?
morality at least.
Well, he's
at least
programmed
he has like
with it,
yeah,
yeah.
he's programmed with a sense of morality. He can't hurt people that he's told and whatnot. I would imagine.
I thought Deon told him that.
Deon told him that, and that's where he learned it from.
Yeah, so he
yeah,
very early, so that was like one of the first things he does learn.
Yeah.
is that there's like a right and wrong.
Yeah,
which
that
is
he learned.
given to him.
Yeah, exactly. And then but he's not born with a sense
No.
of morality at all. It's like I don't think that people are born with a sense of morality.
No, it's definitely like, so this was such a heavy example of like how parenting will change a lot of things about kids. Like, especially when it comes to like organized religion and how they're going to be like, this is the morality of what you should be doing. AKA like the most Christian religions are going to be like, you're going to go to hell if you do any of these things. And then just like terrify their
Or
children.
fucking Mormonism.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's,
Oh.
fuck yeah, for real.
Just them Abrahamics just like to
Ah.
they just love to talk about burning and fire
Yeah.
and brimstone and
Mitch had a
Plagues.
really great. Me and him, we had a great conversation about morality being a privilege.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
yes.
That
definitely.
is definitely a real
Yes.
thing. Explain.
Oh, morality is a privilege, absolutely. That's my argument rather, because we live in a society where we are fortunate enough to understand and not have to do anything wrong in order to survive, whereas there are
okay.
societies where people have to do what we would consider bad things to survive, whereas it is just the way that life is.
Oh yeah,
for
you can
them.
see that just in like different
Yeah.
class systems. Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah. So
What
I'm
is
saying
acceptable
morality
on
is a
one side of
privilege.
the town isn't always acceptable on the other side of town. You just go up the street and it's a whole other culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have to kill our neighbor to ensure our survival.
Jeez.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that this movie brought up a lot of interesting ideas on like how do people develop, what sparks that development, and then what access to what. Because I mean, Chappie could have just gone home with his creator and actually lived a pretty like
He probably
chilled
would have
out
been
life.
just really smart and
Yeah.
like would have spent all of his time learning and like learning artistic things.
Yeah, he would have gotten on the internet a lot faster.
Yeah, he definitely would have been connected to the internet.
What's the internet, Daddy? I want it.
Yeah, he's like, I want it. I want that.
Low key, I feel like he would be a TikTok star. I'm just
That's
saying.
funny.
I bet he's got moves, He can pop and lock.
All right.
There's
The-
enough tutorials on
right.
YouTube he could just watch.
Just downloads it, suddenly learns how to dance.
What's up with all the fucking angle grinders in this movie, dude?
Yo.
They're the real star of the show.
Obviously, they don't know how to use anything else.
Mur, do you know how many angle grinders there were? How many scenes of angle grinder?
I know
I
you
believe there
counted.
are 5 to 6.
Yeah.
They've locked the door on us. This is the 6th time. Get the angle grinder. All faithful. Just-
Like even on the giant fucking mech, there's an angle grinder on it.
Ah.
there is. Yeah, there is.
I totally didn't even think about that.
Let's talk about this giant fucking mech fight.
Ooh, yes.
It was
Yes.
sort of a fight. It was just the dude going nuts.
Yeah,
But still,
Yeah.
that artillery, though.
I do love the
man.
fact that Sigourney Weaver has that fucking reference to Alien.
She does. She says a line
She says-
specifically.
I destroy that robot, turn it to ash. And like it's a reference to Alien 1 because Ash was the AI
Yeah.
that betrayed them in the Whaling
The
Corporation.
synthetic that goes nuts in the beginning of the first, or in the end of the first movie.
Woo! I love that though. But yeah, he's like, "Let me take out the moose. Come on!"
He's so excited.
Like he's the one who uploaded the Genesis program to deactivate all the police drones so they could finally fucking send out the moose. Which his fucking idea was basically just, I just want to be the star of the show.
Right.
I want to show people I could do this. I put money and funding into it. Please let me play with my fucking toy. There's even that scene with the police where they're just like, yeah, so you could basically put missiles in this thing and you could shoot them at people. They're like, we're dealing with like robberies and petty theft.
Yeah,
right?
he was like, this is such overkill. Like, we don't need that. We need something much smaller to like go into buildings and drag these people out.
Which the thing is, like, I noticed when they first bring out the droids in the first fucking scene where they're like meeting with Hippo, they're like, oh, we just had reports of gunfire. Nobody shot any shots, but immediately they're bringing out fucking guns and shooting just to shoot. Like, they're not questioning anybody. They're like, they're just going for it. They're not even like, put your hands up, fucking drop your weapons. They do that eventually.
Right.
But they just start going in guns blazing, no questions asked.
I can only assume that they knew that they were all dangerous and were just breaking up this drug deal or whatever deal they had. It looked like food, which is kind of fucked up to think about.
Yeah.
Cat food?
Segue. I have another question. Are humans... Does being human mean that you are a flesh and a consciousness, or are we just our consciousness?
I would say the consciousness is the consciousness itself, and it could really be in anything. I think being human involves the vessel in which the consciousness is held,
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm human now, but maybe I wasn't human always. Maybe I'll be something more than human.
What do you become with the absence of flesh, though?
I just am. I am matter and spirit.
I'm very attached to the idea that I have to have my brain.
You have to have the fleshy brain?
Just, like, put my brain in, like, a fucking glass case and I'll be, put it in a robot. It's very Futurama.
Okay.
So
that reminds me of, who is that one comic book villain that was just the brain in a tank that would float around with a gorilla dude as his sidekick? I think it was in Teen Titans a little bit.
I was like, MODOK? No.
wait. You're talking about Dr. Evil Concarne.
Yeah, from fucking The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he was in, like, there was the stomach fucking thing on his stomach, and
Yeah,
then, like,
yeah,
his brain was on top of a bear.
Yes. Oh, that was great.
Gnarly.
There was the bear. There's, like, I think Earthworm Jim had a villain that had a brain in his stomach also.
What is it?
That's how old I am.
The Ninja Turtles had one, too.
Yeah.
The Ninja Turtles had
Krang?
one. Yeah.
Yeah, Krang's cool.
Yeah, there's a few versions of this. I think it's because that is, like, where all of your shit comes from, like, all of your emotions, your feelings, things like that. So, like, that would have to sort of remain intact to be, like, that person.
But isn't that all just data that's being processed through the brain?
Yeah, isn't it just this movie
unless you
implies
can,
that?
unless you can have something that, like, replicates that. But, like, I just can't. I don't know how you would transfer that into anything else.
How do you feel about consciousness being a .dat? Would you upload your consciousness into a data file?
It makes sense. Like, we're not constantly using all parts of our brain at all times. Mm-hmm. So, like, we're only accessing whatever information we need. So it makes sense that it's a data file because, like, most of it is storage.
But, like, say if you were going to die and they're like, hey, John, we could put you in a fucking robot.
Oh, I'd be concerned. I'm like, really? Just, like, a data file? It's not like a program or like inexecutable, whatever. It's fine. Yeah, let's figure it out. They somehow figured it out on PS4s apparently, but like
yeah, like a stack of 6 of them.
That's not enough computing power for that. But I don't really know. I think that's what really bothered me about the movie is they all seem to have weird motivations for things, if any at all. And so like the script is kind of like lacking in that sense. It was just stylish and cool to watch. There wasn't a lot of depth to a lot of the characters.
I have to agree. There's a lot of like inconsistencies with what characters do, like how they go about doing things.
Yeah,
it's kind of
weird.
silly, and it's fine. Like I thought the ending was really cute.
It gets really melodramatic towards the end.
Yeah,
but
like,
oh, okay.
I do also really like the robot and watching him like
grow.
grow.
Watching him like defend the people he loves against the giant mech, like fucking shit up with the fucking incendiary shotgun trying to protect his maker and shit. I like that.
All right. Well, did you guys have any other thoughts about Chappie? Or should we move into District 9?
I believe that there should be more movies with rap groups, not rappers. You got your LL Cool J, you got your Ice-T. Fuck that. I want to see Run the Jewels in a Wes Anderson movie. I want to
Yes.
see Death Grips in a fucking David Lynch
Oh my
film.
god,
Yes.
Death Grips would be amazing.
I want to see more rap groups.
I feel like they
in
would say
more
yes
movies.
too. Like if you contacted them and were like, "You want to be in a movie?" I feel like they would just be like, "Yeah, that sounds
no.
dope."
It has to be a David Lynch film for Death Grips.
David Lynch wouldn't do it.
I feel like he
Wouldn't
could.
do it.
He totally.
He's an old white man. He's not going to do that.
That's the only. I feel like that's the only fucking director they accept.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, who would you want to see?
Whoa.
See,
Why do you not? Why do you think David Lynch wouldn't do it?
He's an uptight filmmaker. Like,
Is he?
yes.
Oh, okay. I guess I just think
Well,
he's weird.
here's the thing. He did
He
that.
is weird.
He's
He
just
is
a
weird.
weirdo.
He did do that fucking sound, or he did that song with fucking Flying Lotus last year on Cosmogramma. Or not Cosmogramma. The new album that they had, they did a song with
shit.
David Lynch.
I didn't know that.
He does
Fuck.
spoken word for the horror track.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
But
He's got a good narration voice.
He's been, collaborating with like rappers.
I might
and
be wrong
electronic
then. Yeah, I might be
artists.
wrong about that.
Maybe he's opening up his
Yeah,
brain
right?
more.
He's getting older. He might want to try some other shit out.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think only someone like Tarantino would do some dumb shit like that because he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna like when he made Django Unchained and put rap music in it.
Why hasn't Wu-Tang Clan been in a fucking Tarantino
Because
movie?
Wu-Tang Clan sucks
That's
now.
a good point.
It's not the original crew.
Oh, fuck it.
If it was the OG Wu-Tang
That's
Clan,
what I'm
that would be
saying.
fucking dope. Like in
Bring
the
them all
90s.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that'd be fucking cool. But like you don't have Old Dirty Bastard anymore, so it's like,
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
there's no Ghostface Killer. Like what? I don't know what you're gonna do with the rest of the people. I don't even remember who else was on Wu-Tang, to be honest. Redman?
RZA.
Oh, that's right, RZA and fucking what's the other one?
The Genius, Gizza.
Yeah, there you go.
And fucking, the other guy.
See, that's what I'm saying. Nobody remembers that. Who else was on Wu-Tang besides like the main people? So whatever. I'm sure I'll get
Method.
some mail about that.
So we're on to District 9.
Yeah, this is a good
Yeah.
moment.
District 9.
So District 9 was like heavily acclaimed. People love this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the thing. When I was looking this up, District 9 is like the most popular, most paid one. Like they
Yeah, he
got
made a lot of fucking money.
It was fucking nominated for Best Picture, the first documentary style movie to be nominated for Best
Holy
Picture.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that profit margin. What the fuck?
Yeah, they made this is why he was able to make the other movies, and then he kind of just like shit the bed. But it's cool.
So the budget was $30 million, and it made $210.8 million in the box office.
Ooh, that's a healthy number right there.
It should be known that it is Neil Blomkamp. It is in his first film. It was produced by Peter Jackson, and they were supposed to produce a fucking Halo movie, but they
Yeah.
never fucking were able
They
to.
didn't get enough money. No one wanted to support it, which is really weird. Because it's like, who doesn't want to give Peter Jackson money?
Peter Jackson in a Halo movie would be fucking good.
Because at this point, Peter Jackson made a bunch of shit.
Yeah, you made Lord of the Rings already.
Yeah, like, well, what the
Dude,
fuck?
Dude, Peter Jackson also is responsible for the masterpiece. Oh, fuck. Goddamn, I just forgot the name of the movie. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's like a really demented Muppets movie. I'm trying to remember. It's like one of his first films. God damn. Meet the Feebles. He's also
Oh.
responsible for Meet the Feebles.
What the fuck? I
Yeah.
totally forgot about that.
There you go. It's awful, but I love it.
It's awful. It's completely awful.
It's so B-movie. All right, anyway, but with Muppets. Anyway, regardless, that's a tangent.
Hey, I also like the King Kong adaptation he had in 2005.
That is also good, yes.
Is that the one that was like 4 hours long?
Yeah, it had Peter Jack or
And
not
had
Peter,
fucking
Jack
Black.
and
Jack Black
Adrian
was
Brody.
in that?
Yeah.
Shit.
I can't stand either one of them. I can't stand Adrian Brody's nose, and I can't stand fucking Jack Black just being Jack Black in a movie in the 1940s. Like, it's just not.
That doesn't work.
It doesn't work
He
out.
can't exist like before the 80s.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he doesn't exist before the 80s.
Yeah.
It's weird if you put him in a role like that.
Yeah, just keep playing Tenacious D in Biodome.
Yeah,
dude.
it's just he'll be fine.
Did
for
you
the rest
remember
of the-
Biodome?
Yes.
I fucking love that movie. That was my fucking. I used to watch.
You're
that
like
movie
the only other person
so-
who's ever mentioned that movie to me.
I used to watch that movie religiously as a kid. The Safety Dance. That is one of those.
It's
those
fucking
Yikes.
the
dope.
Safety Dance is
Yes.
like one of those songs where I'm just like, kind of feel depressed
There's
today.
so many parodies
Fucking
of
put
that.
on Safety
Yeah,
Dance. I'm
exactly.
like, you know what? Depression. Who?
Oh my god, did you see the parody they did in Family Guy for that shit? They do like a whole dance.
Really?
Yeah, when they're doing like a heist at Lois's dad's house, they do like a whole safety dance video. It's really weird. Anyway,
So District 9 is pretty sick.
Yeah. Fucking District 9 centers around a group of aliens that come to the planet, hang out for like 3 months, and then they bore a hole in and find like these like malnourished aliens essentially.
Yeah.
And then basically allow them to stay there
Sort
Mhm.
for like 20 years, yeah. In like a ghetto kind of thing.
Which
Oh,
is,
it's a slum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
slum. There you
slum
go.
they
Hey,
had set
slum,
up.
that's the word I was
Well,
looking
like
for.
initially a refugee camp, then turned slum after they just
Right.
kind of stayed there.
Yeah, and they don't really do anything to help them. They just kind of
Yeah.
leave them there
Yeah.
and be like, all
They're
right,
like, you guys are
figure it out."
fine, right?
Well,
That's just
yeah.
that's how you start, you know? That's
Yeah,
how
you got it,
begin.
right? Just get a job. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, you know, that's how everyone starts. Actually, everyone just starts poor and destitute with a shack. That's everyone.
well, the
that
thing is,
starts out that way.
Oh,
film-
yeah. If only.
Yeah, only-
see, the thing is, Chappie and District 9, they're not real films. It's just documentary of fucking Johannesburg, all right?
You know what's fucked up is that the slum that they filmed in, that shit's all real.
Yeah, the only...
Like they didn't make a set for that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
only one
Except for the one house.
Yeah,
That's
the one
how you
house
save
with the
money
fucking
right there,
alien
production.
ship.
That's
Which I thought
fucking
was really
crazy.
clever because they're like, we see an alien fucking piece of artifact come out. We can't fucking find it anywhere. Fucking went over my head that it was the alien ship.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. But, do you know why they're like, do you want to know why the guy picked prawns and like cat food specifically?
No.
I was curious about that.
Why did he choose it?
So, basically the idea of the prawns and them being obsessed with cat food is because the director would use cat food and cheese poofs while fishing, and he would catch a fuck ton of prawns. And so he was just like, yeah, you know what? These aliens are going to be obsessed with fucking cat food.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird quirk.
Interesting.
Them like really liking cat food. I didn't really get why they did that.
I really love when people write these little bits of information from their personal life into movies. Like, we would never assume that that was the story of where it came from, but that's so interesting. No one would ever really think about that.
He inserted a few things. Like in Chappie, the weapons company is the name of his short film.
Oh.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that was like the name of a short film that he based it on.
How do you feel about the CGI in this movie?
It still holds up pretty good.
It's been a couple years.
Not gonna lie.
I'm not upset.
Yeah, I'm not upset about
Actually,
it.
it's been 11 years.
I didn't even really think about it when I was watching that. I didn't think about the CGI.
It looked fine. I didn't have any like scenes where I was like, "That's fucking bad."
Well, So the first time I watched it, I felt like I did not realize all of the consistencies it had with what was actually happening in Johannesburg during that time, or even like a couple decades before, because it was a direct analogy to like the apartheid laws that they had there, where they really had like racial segregation, where they're like, you guys are gonna live here and we're gonna live here, and they forcefully moved people to a different area. And so like this is what they did. This is what they moved all of the aliens. They didn't even have like a proper name for them. Like the prawn name that they had was like a slur for them.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was thinking about, is that you never really know where these aliens come from.
No, there's nothing
Why were they
revealed.
there in the first place? Who are they? What were they before? And that's something I wondered. Like, obviously they're an intelligent species because they built this ship and got here in the first place. Somehow ended up stranded, but like, who were they before? And what is it like to be treated like such animals when you probably were kings and queens where you came from, you know?
Some of them exhibit like more violent behavior, while others are more diplomatic.
Yeah.
So this implies that there is like different levels of like intelligence,
A
among
social
their
class
own
system that they have.
exactly. Or and so I would say like, because you can assume that some of them are probably just like basic like grunts and like workers for their group, etc. To use like
Right.
simplistic terms. Then there's others who are like scientists.
Yeah,
and things like that. And-
I think it was Christopher is the main
Yeah.
prawn that we follow throughout the
Fucking
movie.
Christopher.
yeah,
Yeah,
Christopher.
if you do watch this movie, watch it with subtitles so you can get the prawn dialogue.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's very important.
There was like, that's the thing. Like, hi, we're here to evict you. We have your scroll on the
Yeah, he
fucking
was like-
paper?
And he was like, it says you're supposed to give me a 24-hour notice, you know.
He's like, this guy's a little bit smarter. We
Yeah.
have to try some different tactics.
That was fucked up.
And so it's pretty obvious that whoever Christopher was is probably like some sort of scientist or something, because he had that big old lab underneath his shack too.
Yeah, he was able to operate the ship too. He was like
Yeah,
an engineer. He knew how to like put
definitely.
things together.
20 years to get enough fluid so they'll be able to use the spaceship.
Yeah, the fuel.
So the interesting bit is the fluid in this movie. This is like one of the big messages that this is like one of the points in this movie where its big message is portrayed, which is that anybody can become the other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's
totally.
like one of the big more like I guess messages of the
Yeah.
film and whatnot.
Wickus is a very nice guy in the beginning of the movie. The only reason he gets the promotion is because his in-law runs it.
I actually will say that he's not a nice person to begin with. Until
he gets the job.
Well, no, because even when he's out there, he's like doing terrible things and then making jokes about it the whole time.
Yeah, like how he was threatening to take away the dude's kid.
When he was working in the office is what I'm saying.
Oh, I mean, there's nothing that says that he wasn't already racist in his office job.
No, yeah, I'm sure he was. I'm sure it didn't take him getting to the field. I don't think
he realized it.
And it's all shot in this documentary style where they're like,
he's like a fumbling person.
Wickus was a nobody, and now he became like the most valuable asset on Earth because he could handle alien weapon technology.
I felt like he got chosen because they needed a scapegoat who was stupid. Like, didn't really know what he was doing, and they chose him because they knew they could just blame it on him if something went wrong. Because, like, he got put in charge of this huge project of moving all these people.
Like, what, 2.5 million
Yeah, like,
prawns?
for one person to figure it out, and, like, he's on the ground doing this. But, like, so what was fucked up was all of the tactics they used to, like, evict people. This is shit they do in real life to people all around the United States, like, constantly. Yeah. So, like, it was, like, you could insert any person here, and it would fit for, like, something that the United States has done. So it's, like, look at the way they treated, like, Chinese people, indigenous people, Mexican people. Like, it all fit. So anyone who was watching it would be like, oh, that's, like, fucking relatable.
That's
I could
how
see
it
shit
is.
like that.
Well, almost everybody can relate.
Well, I mean, unless you're like really white and very privileged, so it's just like no, it makes sense. But they gotta leave. They're like on the other side of that.
There's like that scene where the kid of Christopher Johnson is like, maybe this will be our new house, and Wickus is like, you don't want to go there. It's more like a fucking concentration camp than anything.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, that was fucked.
With the FEMA tents and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, it was the equivalent of when they were trying to move people into concentration camps, and they're like, we got to keep you here because we got to keep you separate from everybody.
Did you notice the foreshadowing in the cake?
No, I missed it. You mentioned something about it, though.
So when Wickus cuts the cake on his, like, promotion cake, he cuts out the section where he blows up when he's entering the building.
Like
when he's gonna go infiltrate the building to get the fucking fluid, he cuts the area of the cake that he destroys.
That's kind of funny and ironic.
Right. What did you think about the entire like thing with them like secretly testing and how like they have government secrets and they use the media to manipulate information?
Oh, I really like that bit. I feel like that's really relatable to at least the past couple years of all this fake news and whatnot. Yeah. But it really, you have to question, is what you're seeing what is the truth, or is it what they want you to perceive as the truth?
It's just straight propaganda.
Yeah.
Like, they really aren't trying to hide the fact that they're making social commentary on propaganda around the world, especially when it comes to, like, what you were saying, Mitch, where it's like, this is the other, you don't like them, they are not supposed to be here, this is a, like, you know, human-only area. In this case, the other is the alien, so, like, strong xenophobia through the whole film.
Right, there's both areas of that. Like, you have people who like advocate for prawns' rights. Right. They're barely shown in the movie, as well as people who just discriminate and hate them and want them off of Earth completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which is ironic because they're just like, I don't know, it's like somebody argues that they shouldn't be there because they're not even like from the planet. But like, this is the logic that people use where they're like, they're not even from the area, they need to leave. And this is like their justification for someone leaving.
Yeah, and then MNU was like we have to do this legally.
Right.
Like, we have to go around this legally now.
Quote, unquote.
Because they're on Earth.
Well, what's great is that they are, like, inserting this ridiculous bureaucracy into their world of, like, hey, we're going to serve you eviction notices. But, like, everything else about the situation is terrible. Like, just because they have a paper. And then he even, like, has the dude, like, hey, I need you to sign it. And he smacks it away. He's like, that counts. That's, like, your signature. And, like, we can move on now.
And not to mention about how he threatened to put one of his kids basically in a box for the rest of their life.
Fuck, dude. He was like, we're going to take your kid away. This is like when CPA takes away your kids.
Yeah.
Because, like, you're not, like, providing a nice home, like, a quote-unquote nice home for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not competent enough to be a parent.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So it's like that they were just using all these tactics on it.
The entire scene where they take him down into the fucking basement, the 4th level basement, while he's barely turning into this metamorphosis.
To test out all the weapons and shit?
Test out all the weapons. He's the most incredible asset. They want the power to use it so they could, like, actually use alien weaponry. And, like, there's also, like, that mirror with the black voodoo that they would use in Africa. They're like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of people that believe if they eat the fucking prawn, they will become a part of the prawn. So you have that slumlord also trying to, I want what you have. Give me that fucking arm.
Didn't they ban this movie like in Nigeria? They're like, we hate the way that they are portraying Nigerian people in this film.
Yeah, it's very stereotypical if you ask me. Like, it's kind of the exact stereotype of Nigerians, even down to the part about being scammers.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
It's banned in Nigeria because of the portrayal. Yeah, they don't want to be portrayed as fucking gangsters and thugs, is what they said.
That's what they said. Well, I wonder then how the people who were in the film actually felt about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dude playing the character who was the boss. He's probably like, I don't really care.
I wonder if they had actual Nigerians.
Yeah, they did. They had a good amount. They had like almost all the people that they had in his gang were actual like Nigerian people.
I thought it was nuts that they used a live target in the shooting.
Oh,
like, that shit probably happens on a daily basis around the world.
Oh, it's fucked up.
I was
It's like
thinking
animal
about that
testing.
too. And yeah, all of the medical testing that they're doing, they're like cutting into their bodies, trying to figure out how they work. And this makes me think about during the Holocaust, about how the Jews were processed and operated on in the
All
name
the
of science.
crazy Nazi
All
scientists.
illegal experiments, of course, but ironically enough, we still use the data that we learned from those today in a lot of our medical fields.
Yeah, that's like a lot of people's argument is that like, what if we didn't have this data? And then there's the whole moral, ethical issue of like, should it have been done in the first place?
Right.
I mean, they were going to cut Wickus open. Like, what are the chances of survival? Oh, none. He's going to die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were like, he's dead. Like, we're gonna fucking examine his insides.
And then, like, the in-law was even lying to the wife.
Yeah, that was fucked.
It was just like, can I see him, Dad? Can I see my husband? And he's like, it's best if you don't.
Yeah, right. Damn, that was fucked up.
I thought that he was going to go through a metamorphosis like Kafka in that book. I honestly thought he was going to wake up and be like, I'm late for work.
Turning
and
into
he's a
like
fucking
a
full-ass
literal bug.
prawn.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he does eventually turn all the way.
Well, he's like half and half. He's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing going on.
No, like at the end, like the very, very end.
Yeah.
When he's like making a little flower for his wife.
That's
yeah,
him?
he's
That's
full
him.
Pronto.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
did you miss that?
Yeah, that's totally
Who's
him.
that?
Because his wife has a flower before that.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's like,
shit.
oh, I found this on my doorstep. And it's like he
Oh.
fully turns and then he's waiting there for the other guy to come back.
I did miss that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Christopher Johnson?
Like how
Like
how
after,
the character
like
is.
just like how he's like so determined to get home, and then his one chance is fucked up, and now he just has to live with it until he like figures out he could actually use Wickus.
I felt like he ended up being like one of the most morally good people in the movie, like as the character himself, like how he handles all the situations. And he's honest with Wickus. He's like, I'm not going to be back for like 3 years. He could have easily just been like, yeah, I'll be back. Like, just wait here for a second. And then he could have just left. But he was like upfront with him. And it was like, oh, it's going to take like a long time for me to come back and help you.
Do you think he would come back? Like, how do you feel about the ending?
Yeah, I think he'll
I
come
think
back.
he would come
Do you think
back.
he's gonna wage war?
Oh yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, with how shitty they ended up treating them, which is not surprising because we all suck.
Plus, also, they have to get everybody back. I mean, I feel like they would be willing, but I don't know. I feel like if a bunch of ships rolled up to Earth, the humans would probably put up a
Well, there's also
a
the
fight.
argument that all of the aliens that ended up on the ground and out of the ship could have been like prisoners. They could have been workers, like not very important. And like, who knows how many of them live on the planet that he's going to? So it's like they might not even be that important. Or what was their mission?
Or
to
they're
begin
like
with?
another part because they have a lot of weaponry,
Right?
Yeah.
like gnarly ass like battle suits and shit. Like this is like a group that's like ready for war with someone.
Yeah. So, it
So they
didn't
might
make
have been on their
sense.
way and then landed on the wrong planet. Or like, well, we don't want to cause problems here because we're already fucked.
Yeah.
We're HQ's way, light years that way, you know, and whatnot. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he would though because I mean the Christopher character isn't. He never really takes that many opportunities to like beat up people unless it's like in
Right.
to him escaping. That's
Yeah.
when he gets to the part of violence. Other than that, he like lays down as like, "Yo, you can hit me a bunch of times. I'm not doing it."
Well,
sort
yeah,
of
he's about to
idea.
die.
Yeah, exactly. No,
At
and
some point.
I understand that, but even up to that point, he's very much like he's very what's the word? Pretty submissive, I would say.
Oh yeah,
At
yeah.
least
He
'cause-
wasn't
yeah.
willing to like cause any violence to anybody. I think
Yeah.
Wickus is the one who kind of pushes him to.
Mhm.
He even tells them like when they're breaking into the place, he's like, "Wait, I thought you said not to kill anybody." And then the guy's like, "He fucking shot me."
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
At that point, though, yes, you guns draw and go.
yeah, and
Let's
he's
go.
like, "Fuck it."
Yep,
He
it's
even
now
like
dangerous.
gets very upset about the other ones getting cut open, and he's like staring at the open like cadaver on the table, and is just like totally defeated when it comes to that point. And Wickus is like, wait, you have to think about your kid.
The kid's fucking smart too.
Yeah,
Kid's a
exactly.
genius.
Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me since he's just been with him his whole life. Although I do wonder how this kid came to be.
Well, I think the kid was born on Earth
Right.
because they had been there for 20 years, and he didn't look like he was a 20-year-old alien. I don't know. I feel like if you're a 20-year-old alien, you're a little taller, you know?
Well, they might age very slowly, like Yoda shit.
I don't know.
Just laid an egg and it got lucky.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they did have eggs. Remember, he
Oh,
did burn
man.
that
Oh
shack
my
with all of the
God.
babies.
Yeah, he was like, here's the thing for your first abortion. And I was like, whoa. This
And
is
I don't
fucked.
know, there's a couple
Look, they're
million of
popping
them,
like
and I
popcorn.
imagine that not all of them came there on the ship, because that would have, I mean, the ship was pretty big, but
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think the ship would hold a couple million.
Yeah, they were trying to like monitor them and make sure they didn't have children, which is again another thing that happens around the world. If you, I don't know, like communist China, where they're just like, you
Right.
can only have like
Fuck.
so many children, like, you know, and now they're fucked on their population because they have more men than women.
Bad segue, but giant mechs. I think this guy just really likes fucking mechs.
Yeah, he had at least one mech in each movie.
Yeah.
There's
and,
even a mech in Elysium,
and what is it?
or at
There-
least exo armor.
This was the first movie to use the anti-material sniper rifle
Oh,
in a movie ever. It was like the giant fucking sniper. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
This mech and like the weapons that the aliens have completely evaporate people.
yeah.
Oof.
It like made one of them explode because it was like straight electricity.
Yeah. Also, I think one of my favorite parts in this movie is when all the fucking gangsters are shooting this mech and he just magnetizes all the bullets and sends them back out. at
Oh
everyone.
shit, yeah. That if that mech was properly piloted, it would have been very dangerous.
The moment of confusion on their faces during, they're just like, they all stop shooting. They're like, wait,
Yeah,
nothing's
it's not-
happening. Why
it's
is
not
nothing
working.
happening?
Not working.
Oh no!
That's some gnarly tech right there.
Well, their technology was interesting because it would meld with the pilot like all the times. Even like in the ship, he had to like dip his hands into some weird fleshy stuff, gooey thing.
The director has something to say about that.
Oh God, what?
Ooh.
So he's like, that's the thing. All of these weapons are controlled by DNA. So who's to say that that's not the piss chamber?
Oh fuck.
So
No.
right.
He did that intentionally. Like that was so
Yep.
intentional. I
But-
wonder if that's like meant to be like people's aversion to something that's different from themselves, as like, oh, this piece of your culture is very weird, I'm not going to be a part of that. And it could be anything from like food to like certain traditions.
I think it's a very interesting take because like you have all these humans trying to use the alien technology and failing,
Right.
and because like they're just not a part of it, they're not in that area, and so like I think it has like a little bit of that subculture kind of context, but as well like there's also people who are trying to get into it and heavily trying to get into it. I mean, they're trying to like eat the flesh, they're trying to inject it, they're trying to do anything to be a part of the culture that they are
Yeah.
so different from.
I mean, that didn't seem that wacky to me. Like it almost like it makes sense that you might be able to get some of that power by ingesting it.
The power to eat cat food and rubber?
It's. I mean, if you think about it, it's similar to like, I guess you'd say like kind of like appropriation in a way. It
I
might
was
be
just
like
about
a
to say,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. It's kind of like that. Like we must become just like these people because they're so different from us.
But we're
Right.
going to continue
Wow.
to oppress them anyways, but
Yeah.
we're going to
Yeah.
celebrate you on a small platform.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, exactly. So it's like it didn't seem like it seems like that would be a likely thing that would happen. They just happen to connect it to them being like also scamming them, also being like I don't know what to call them, like criminal slumlords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The display of like the other and like who to sympathize with is done a lot in like their long and close shots that they do in this movie as well. Specifically, like where they're testing all the weapons on his
Oh my
like,
God,
new
yeah.
mutated hand. Once they bring in the alien test subject, the prawn test subject, the camera instantly turns to where the background where the alien is more clear. Whereas that is supposed to be the focus of your attention is on this, like, basically a person about to be, like, executed for science.
Oh yeah, they got put up against the
and
wall.
then when it's the pig, it's blurred out. It's because the focus is supposed to be sort of, like, on the pain of the person. That's
right.
Yeah, so there's a lot of interesting, like camera work done in those moments
Nice.
that I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they used a lot of handheld cameras too to get you into the feeling of that you were there with the group, and you weren't very like disconnected from what was happening in the scene. They have a lot of GoPro shots where you're like running around with them.
They also have like all those Discovery Channel, just like, yeah, Wickus was this kind of person.
Yeah,
he's
those
like
are
vital
great.
to the story. I really like that in this movie of a way of storytelling. They don't know where he's at by the end of the movie. I also like the fact that the guy who was just like a nobody, who like was trying to find a bulletproof vest, that guy like actually went into the corporate files and like released all that data and eventually got jailed for it.
Yeah, he's basically like every other person who digs too deep into something and they're like, nope, you're gonna go into fucking jail.
He's probably gonna commit suicide pretty soon, guys.
Fuck.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I guess in a way it's sort of similar because they sort of change his story, don't they? Like in the media for themselves, it's kind of like
they're saying he's like crazy.
I'm
Like,
gonna pull a really like potentially obscure reference here that I just like saw a little bit of history on. It's kind of like the character Lawrence of Arabia, in a way. Whereas the actual story is much different than what is portrayed to the actual people. Whereas like at the end of Lawrence of Arabia's story, he was like, I really wish that things had gone a lot differently than what happened, because he ended up like hanging out with the group, with the like Middle Easterners that were hanging out there. I forget.
Right.
I'm terrible with geography, but he would basically hang out with them and like, you know, like help them do raids and whatnot and help them get out of the way of like the British officers that were rolling through the area and things like that. And in his own diaries, he would later write, like, I don't really appreciate how these people were treated at the end of all these conflicts. Whereas the British portray him as, like, this guy that was, like, super heroic and, like, was going around and, like, doing, like, I don't know, just doing colonizing shit all the time. And so it's, like, very different. And it's an interesting bit of
That
stuff.
sounds like how people portrayed Christopher Columbus, where they thought he was like a huge hero, and then there's
Oh,
a
man.
bunch of diaries.
That was
about
such a
him.
trip to me growing up in elementary school, and we had Christopher Columbus Day, and we learned that he
God.
sailed across the sea and found America, and he thought he found India, but it wasn't India, because he was looking for gold, but he didn't find any, and so he committed genocide instead.
It's kind of wild. I love all of the diary entries from people about him, where they were like, he was a notorious liar.
Yeah.
He lied about every encounter he had.
We just have to. Lawrence of Arabia didn't necessarily like hurt the people that were there. He just
Right.
kind of like hung out with them, essentially. So
Yeah.
it's definitely like history being rewritten to portray
totally.
something different.
Well, it's
And
like
It's in
thing.
favor of whoever's telling it.
right,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
who's writing history? Usually the winners. But it's like, he ends up getting fucked and kind of twisted around. Both of these films are set in Johannesburg and like South Africa area, where they're experiencing a lot of conflict because of racism, because people feel like they are like owed this land. It's like how many like thousands of years have they been fighting in like Palestine and Israel over like the same piece of land that they thought they were entitled to.
Simply because when it was divided, there were no like
Right.
no like spiritual or religious
Right.
concerns taken into account. So then you have all these warring tribes that are just like, well, we just lost like a whole bunch of land of ours now.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Exactly.
And it was definitely meant to show you what was going on during that time period, and even now is still continuing to go on, as well as the influence from the like colonization of the area. So it's like there's a whole lot like they layered it onto a bunch of different things, which is why District 9 had so much more content, because it was based off of real events, and he took that backdrop and added more storyline. Like you actually cared more about the characters in this as you did, instead of like in Chappie where they were just cool, like they were archetype characters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one definitely, I would say District 9 had a lot more to say rather than what Chappie did. There's more questions District 9 brings up.
Right.
Chappie brings up a little bit. There's some in there.
It's more on like the sci-fi side.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it's kind of on the metaphysical side for
Also
Chappie.
that, yeah.
You know, what is reality? What is consciousness? What does it mean to be alive? Versus District 9, where it's like, what does it mean to be alive, you know, in a way that, am I valid?
Can I make a life that can be fulfilling?
Right.
Like everyone has the ability to become the other of society. I've already said this point, but everyone has the ability to be that. And that I think is one of the big things that we should take from this movie, because the character, what's the name of our Kafka? What's the name of him?
Wickus.
Vicus.
Yeah,
Vicus.
So yeah, Vicus doesn't understand what it's like to be them until he gets infected, and then and then he gets like a whole basically his perception is
he
warped.
Completely changes.
Yeah, and then he doesn't I think it was good that he doesn't end up becoming like the sole savior of this whole group of people sort of idea. I think that was
I would have been really annoyed if that happened.
Yeah, exactly. And instead it's more like he just helps the one person who was agreeing to help him, and it becomes more.
Well, people are even split about how they feel about him.
Yeah,
like in their little interviews, some of them are like, "Nah, he's an awful person," and then other people,
he fucks aliens, man. It's weird.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, let's talk about how they glossed over the fact that there's interspecies prostitution.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Like
they just glossed
casual.
over it. They said it once, and no one ever talked about it again. So I'm like, wait, which way? Like,
but I just wonder how that works. Like, what kind of parts do they got? Like, what goes in where?
Is there like quote unquote male aliens having sex with humans, like men or women?
Is it just males? Or are there female aliens?
Swapped? Like, is there like alien dick going out there? Like, what's the deal? Like,
what does alien dick look? Especially that alien
new,
dick. I feel like
actually no. What if it's different? What if they don't even use dicks? What if they just have they just touch you like your forehead, and that's like their sex?
Pregnant.
Guys, we've got to get Murr's point of view.
Yes, Murr. What is the point of view
what's
on
your
this?
point of view on this?
Yeah, exactly.
My point of view is that they obviously have a reproductive cycle, but we don't know. There's no context clues for it. But I mean, most people will point alien penis, right? But I kind of like your idea where it's like they just touch the forehead and bam. But at the same time,
what if they fuse?
At the same time, we could go.
They lay eggs.
We could go the Avatar route where their tails connect.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I was about to say.
I don't know. That sounds kind of dope.
Our souls are connected now.
But I also think that the fucking group that did that they're fucking hypocrites because they have interracial fucking prostitution. And then when Wickus comes in, they're like, "Yo, you fucked this fucking alien. Did you put a condom on?" They're just like, "Don't fucking come here at Wickus."
Okay,
you have,
but that makes me wonder:
girls.
has he seen some weird alien
That's
STDs?
What I'm saying, yeah. So
alien gonorrhea.
Now you've got the pickle dick, son.
Oh shit!
Oh my god! You come out with your dick pickled. That wouldn't even happen.
You got the pickle dick,
Oh my
son.
god!
It's kind of like moving on its own a little bit.
When you bang interstellar beings, you get
Doc.
pickle dick.
Who's the crazy dude who's like, "Can I fuck it though?" He was like, "Wait, we need to know. We need to have these questions answered."
All right, Doc, give it to me straight, son. You have prawns.
Oh, no! Awful.
Also, did you ever see the marketing for this movie?
It was great.
Yeah,
they straight up put up. It was like they would put stickers and posters and all this shit. They had a real number you could call.
Yeah.
Like to report alien sightings and stuff.
Oh, I remember that. I was like, what kind of fucking
movie is this? They got a lot of phone calls. They got a lot of phone calls and a lot of messages, which are probably saved somewhere. But they got so many things. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was good. I remember seeing it around Comic-Con time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was
and
definitely around Comic-Con.
Also, for the trailer with it, I mean, they went the fucking, what's that movie? Where the fucking White House explodes?
Independence Day.
Yeah, they went the Independence Day route where they didn't show too much, but you were interested.
Yeah, that was great.
But yeah.
I think it worked. It was effective. It was
made it money.
Yeah, it brought enough attention. It also worked in the same way that the marketing did for Alien.
Oh, yeah.
Where they had very little minimal things that they would show you, and then you get everything in the movie. They didn't reveal too much.
I think the only thing that makes me upset about it is that after Elysium came out, it just wasn't regarded as well as District 9, so everyone kind of had
yeah, Chappie and Elysium were not well received.
He basically became a black sheep.
Well, he said it. He said that he didn't do Elysium how he wanted to. He felt like the script wasn't filled in enough, and I think he was under a time crunch, so he had to finish it. What's crazy though is Chappie was written in 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm that's not enough time to write and polish a script.
Well, see, I was thinking
feature-length script, that's way too short.
I was thinking with Yolandi and Ninja, I feel like most of their lines were just improvised.
Yeah, for real.
He kind of just wrote in cues okay, you guys are going to talk about this here. Okay, just do your thing.
Go.
Go.
Yeah, that probably happens a lot. And then Elysium he didn't spend that much time writing it. And he also didn't have partners for Chappie and Elysium. His District 9 he wrote with his wife.
Shit.
And she was maybe the better writer. So she might have like been the one to create a lot of the depth for the characters. And then when he went off to write on his own, he had the cool idea of a cool sci-fi film, but he didn't really have a lot of depth for the characters. I liked Elysium though, although I think I liked it for different reasons. I liked Elysium because the villain is nuts. And he's
I haven't seen it. I know Matt Damon's in it, right?
Yeah, he's awful, but he's literally, so he's like the main character in this world where all the rich people live on this ring floating above the earth, and everyone else lives on Earth in basically like a slum.
So Halo.
Yeah, exactly.
So Halo. Okay.
They live like on a Halo-like ring, and then
So he did make that Halo movie.
Well, I can't get what I want, but this is the next best
Right.
thing.
That's a cool ass knockoff, if you ask me. That's that good discount brand.
You know, Halo's got a ring.
You know what's crazy?
My ring's gonna be in this movie too.
Oh my god!
It'll be like
Matt
Halo.
Damon was their third choice. Literally, it was Ninja, Eminem, and then fucking
Eminem.
Yeah, he wanted Eminem for the role.
You know, I think I probably
be
would have
okay
liked
with
it with
that,
Eminem.
though.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
what has he been in besides fucking 8 Mile?
He just is himself.
What else has he been in?
He doesn't
Be
need to be in anything.
John
He can
just
just
saw
go
me
out
go
there
up
like
to the mic.
himself.
And then just slowly
back away. It's not happening. I mean, he's trash anyway. But like, who else was?
Yo, is there a situation in Elysium? I've never seen it.
Okay.
Where he opens up a fridge. If he opens up a fridge, there would have to be a scene where Eminem opens a fridge and he goes, "Oh yeah, mom's spaghetti." It's like you know, it would be so great. He just eats it and then it continues on the movie.
Well,
but
it's like a really emotional moment. Like that was the last spaghetti she ever made.
Yeah.
I don't.
Like
It's
fr-
still
after
in the
her funeral-
fridge.
After the funeral,
Oh,
you know, he goes
man.
on, "Oh yeah, mom's spaghetti." Are we ready to rate these films?
No,
yet?
yeah. So yeah, right, yeah. So what would you guys rate these, and would you recommend it to other people?
I give Chappie a solid 6 because it's stylish and entertaining. But I'll give District 9 an 8 for the same reasons, but it also made me think a lot more than Chappie did.
I agree completely with the prior consensus. 8 and 6.
All right.
I also agree with the prior consensus in 8 and 6. I think that that Chappie definitely had some cool visual stuff going on for it, but it like was lacking a little depth, and then, especially with something that you have that has actually quite a bit of depth to it as well. And then there's also District 9, which has a whole lot to say. I'd give it 8.5. It's almost 9 there. It's almost a 9 there. Almost.
I give Chappie like a 5 because I think if you had removed Yolandi Visser and Ninja, it would have been a shit movie.
Yeah.
It was
I
like
agree.
they were just enjoyable to watch because it's funny and they're ridiculous. And District 9, I would give it a 9 just because it's District 9. But no, it's actually like a legit movie and it deserves its rating of like being a very well received movie. And it talked about a lot of heavy topics in a way that was usually accepted. It's like what they were doing. So it's like why people like Star Trek so much. Like during the early 70s, late 80s and stuff. Because the only way that they could talk about racism on television was through Star Trek.
Yeah, with
Because
like
it was
different
sci-fi.
alien spaces,
Yeah, exactly.
species.
I mean, because Star Trek was like one of those things where like, oh, you had like your first interracial kiss on television because of Star Trek. So like they had to present it to people in a way that was like quote unquote like acceptable. And so for them, sci-fi is always that route where they can show you these things and like really get to people and like how they feel about these topics without it being like so heavy-handed on what they're doing. And the script is well done. It's really like well done when you're listening to how these characters feel about everything. It's really believable. Also, the main character, the guy, what's his name? The main actor?
Vicus. Or-
The guy who plays him. Anyway, it's like his first movie, and like he
Shelton
did
Copley.
so well
Yeah.
for his first role. Like I thought he was maybe had been acting for like a long time, and like I know he had been in some smaller things too, but this is like a great debut for him. So that's what I would rate.
I
those.
feel like sci-fi does that thing where it's always relevant to the time period. But then
It has
Totally.
to.
Yeah.
But then that's the thing though. Then as we continue within like our society, they come to like relate more and more. I was just telling fucking Mitch I want to run the Cyberpunk 2077 campaign for like a D&D RPG kind of thing. I'm looking at this fucking rule book and I'm just like this is just today.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like this is going to be a sick sci-fi cyberpunk fucking thing. I'm like This literally just happened yesterday.
If it's like not relevant to the times, then you have like a Transformers movie.
Right.
Like you have Michael Bay is really what it is. Like otherwise, like you're just gonna have a shitty action movie.
And that's the thing. I feel like District 9 now with like the entire like America and Mexico like immigrant situation.
Yeah, exactly.
District 9 is more relevant now than it was 11
yeah,
years
ironically,
Yeah.
it's like we're still talking about the same issue however many years later, which is fucked.
And that's why I agree with you on the Star Trek thing, because like they had to talk about that stuff now. But I mean, I have a friend named Tati. She's watching through the entire series. Every day I see a post about, you see this? We talked about this in the 70s and we're still fucking talking about it now.
Yeah, it's great.
Dude, I saw a clip from Golden Girls.
Oh man.
With the freaking Confederate flag.
Yeah.
In it, and there's that whole debate with Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle's in that
So
episode,
good.
and then they have to like explain it to her, and then
Golden Girls is a really fucking good show.
yeah, it's one of those ones I need to like try to watch.
They deal
again.
with a lot of heavy shit in that, and it's well written. It's like a weird alternative to like when they were dealing with real life situations. You always mention it, but like Cheers did that a lot. They had a lot of real life shit happen to all these people that would come in and talk to him about stuff.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, no. It was I like Cheers.
They did the same thing where like these three when we're all going through like all these things. It's really funny.
Sorry, I'm just basking in
how great Cheers is.
How great Cheers is. It's such a great show.
Stop.
It is so. You watched 2 episodes and you were laughing because it was great.
I enjoyed it, but I still feel that my heart is on It's Always Sunny for being the best sitcom.
That show is just wild. Like it's like chaotic wild.
Yeah, it's fucking
Watching
great.
that show. It's
Yeah.
really funny. But like I think it wouldn't be as funny if they didn't have the people who are in it.
But that's the thing, that people make it great.
Yeah.
Cheers never had to be vulgar to be great.
Ooh.
It didn't ever have to be like really over the top or anything like that. It was, I don't know. This is my opinion.
So anyway, I started blasting.
Start blasting. Fucking goddamn it.
Fuck.
I think we're done.
Yeah. Did you guys have any final thoughts?
Giant fucking mechs.
Giant mechs in both movies. Yes. Those
Oh,
were
that's
great.
right. Yeah. There's at least
Yep,
one.
They're great. Yep. Big robots that fight things. It's great.
Final thoughts. Final thoughts.
I just want to say, I think probably my favorite scene out of both of these movies was in Chappie, where the robot is making the doll in Yolandi's likeness.
Oh yeah. It's like
I think that
custom.
was an interesting moment to see, because this robot's supposed to be an AI, an artificial intelligence, but he's exhibiting both empathy and creativity in that moment. So at that point, is he considered to be like a valid living thing, or is he still just an AI?
There's also, I mean, that brings up an interesting point, because I was listening to Duncan Trussell's.
I love that guy.
Yeah, I was listening to his video or his interview about the Midnight Gospel.
Yeah.
And he was like, really dumb, but Clancy is alive if you really think about it. He is a animated thing that is made up of many people working on him, just like cells in a body. And they bring this idea to life and to be put on a screen with pixels.
Right.
So in that sense, the AI itself is a living thing, as well as just like any animation, because it takes multiple beings to pull up something to make it active.
Counterpoint, Murray. Is Clancy only alive when you are watching the Midnight Gospel, or is he alive even without watching?
You
the
shut the
Gospel?
fuck
Well,
up.
this is the argument of like, oh, does a tree make noise when it falls?
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
forest?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
this is like the same argument.
But really, though,
Can you
but
really
does it?
confirm anything outside your own consciousness? Like, this is like,
Yeah.
it's too meta. It's a lot of meta
well,
shit.
then at that point, reality is your consciousness.
Yeah, we're all living in the Matrix. It's fine.
Consciousness
I mean,
is
didn't the
energy.
FBI release some documents saying that we're all just living in a hologram?
Yo, okay, so they've been releasing a lot of wild documents where it's like, what are you guys researching all the time? Like,
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, you guys are actually admitting to a lot of things. Like,
Google Stargate.
We've been
You
doing
won't-
this,
Yeah,
though,
fuck.
just saying.
Oh my god, it's like, yeah, we just did MK Ultra, then we did Stargate, now we're doing this fucking crazy hologram
Project
thing.
Gundam is up next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We have the Weeb department on that.
I mean, we have Space Force, so obvious
Fuck.
next step.
The pyramids of Giza is a power plant. I'm dropping my mic. I'm walking away.
I agree.
That's it. We're ending it right here.
I agree. Any more final thoughts?
No, really. I know that was like 8 final thoughts. It's fine.
Too many final thoughts. You're cut off
this
for
is
the night.
This is like all of Kiss's end of
my God.
end of their career world tours.
Shit.
Except it's us with final thoughts. This will be my final thought, but I've got another thought
Ah.
after that.
Right. So everything after their first album. No.
Every career, every show should have just been their final show.
Yeah,
It just really was
yeah.
though. Oh no.
Oh,
Sorry to all the Kiss
right.
fans.
Obviously, we're not Kiss fans.
Yeah, clearly not.
Dude, Love Gun. It's a song about his dick.
Yes, I love Role Models. That movie is amazing. Can we do an episode on Role Models?
Role Models is a great movie.
I love that movie.
would love to
I
talk about
honestly
that
want to
movie.
do it because I love that movie.
Yeah, we should do that as like a bonus episode.
Yeah, just for fun.
So put it on the
Yeah.
Patreon. Yeah. All right.
Do your end of the shit,
Yeah, wow.
shit, John.
Y'all are
Yeah,
whack.
All right,
fuck her
go.
mother.
Get it. We want to hang out with our peanut gallery.
Oh yeah, huh? We actually recorded with 3 other people in here, and they
Yeah.
were just watching us.
We
Oh.
are
Yeah,
all
we
socially
have-
distanced. Don't destroy
No
us.
pressure.
No,
No.
yeah. Live
it's-
studio audience. We're all
right.
6 feet apart.
Yeah, it's fine. We didn't hear any laughter or clapping though, so it was kind of awkward.
Yeah, studio audience.
Yeah.
Would you like to laugh and clap
We
for us
need
real
like a
quick?
little like sign that says like clap now.
Hey, there they are.
Yeah. It'll like end like one of those late night TV shows where everyone's clapping and it's like, oh, we got a great show coming up for you guys.
You just loop them clapping for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, dang, they
Just gonna clap
stood there
in front
for
of the mic.
5 whole minutes doing the same shit.
Oh man. Oh my
Good.
god.
Oh yeah,
That
perfect.
was really spot on.
Honestly, can we get a soundboard for that?
Dude, we were just talking about that. All right. Well, I just want to remind everybody that we're super easy to find on all of the social media sites as well as all the streaming services. We're pretty much anywhere that you can stream podcasts. Just Google Bringing Down the Grindhouse, or you can go to the website, which is bdtghpodcast.com. You can listen on the website or follow it through to one of the streaming sites. You can also leave us messages, comments, or emails on any one of the social medias. Feel free to send us any recommendations, and if you can, go leave us a review on Apple Podcasts so that we have a better rating on the site. And of course, go join the Patreon because we do want more money. And everybody's dancing currently. I love it. I hope everyone has a good night. Thanks for coming out to talk to me about this.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Mer.
I'm Justine.
And I'm Jonathan. Thank you.
Oh.
All right,
Oh.
so-
Oh, yeah.